grateful to have you as leaders in our community. Friends, thank you all for being here. And I know that we're here for all kinds of reasons. Mostly what we're here to do tonight, though, is to celebrate being together as a community. It's an extraordinary privilege that we have living in a great town like Miami. Thank you for making it so. The Greater Miami Jewish Federation inaugurated the Friend of Israel Humanitarian Award back in 2002. If you'll take a look at the list of people who have won the award, it'll give you a sense of what this award means to us. Take a look at the slide. Shari Arison, Irma and Norman Brayman, my mentor, Mike Brody, Professor Alan Dershowitz, Mayor Rudolph Giuliani, Senator Bob Graham, Sue Miller, Stephen and Sandra Muss, Isaac Olenberg, Israeli President Shimon Peres, Maxine and Kenny Schwartz of cherished memory, Bob Trarig, and tonight we very proudly add a new and most deserving name to that list of honorees, Mr. George Feldenkreis. Gedalia, I am so excited to have the honor of presenting this award to you because you define Jewish leadership and Jewish strength, and your commitment to Israel and our people everywhere is beyond measure. You are a great Jew and a great American, and all of us at Federation, all of us in this room, are very, very happy to have the opportunity to recognize you in this very special way. George, your personal value system, your energy and confidence in the future, coupled with your tremendous business acumen and entrepreneurial spirit, provided the foundation on which you built your life and upon which you built your business, which today makes you the proud employer of more than 2,000 people at Perry Ellis International. Friends, let me tell you that in addition to being a celebration of Jewish unity and community, tonight also marks a very special day, a very special anniversary in George's life. George, I'm not sure if you realize it, but yesterday, to the day, marked 55 years ago that you came to Miami. You arrived with just $700 in the bank, with a young son and a daughter on the way. It was on February 16th, 1961, that you arrived here. What? Oh, the picture. You all looking at these pictures? He's gorgeous. On that day, 55 years ago, you arrived here, fleeing communist oppression in Cuba, willing to give up everything that was familiar to you for an opportunity to create your own future for yourself and your growing family. This is what America is all about. And ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what George Feldenkreis is all about. Mazel tov, George. George was born in Havana, the son of Russian Jewish immigrants. His Zionist roots go back almost to that day. He joined Hashomer Hatzair, one of the oldest international Zionist Jewish youth movements, when he was only 8 years old. And in his teens, he probably would say he saw the light politically because he moved over to the other side and joined a Beitar group. At 15, he got his first job working for Keren HaYesod, the Zionist organization in Havana, in their fundraising office, where he had the honor to meet Menachem Begin, the founder of the modern Likud party and later Prime Minister of Israel. I wonder if he would have met with you if you were still in Hashomer Hatzair, George. 2 years later, Israel Bonds opened a Havana office and hired George. So while he was attending law school, he was typing up pledge cards for Israel bonds and keeping lists of the Jews in Havana. He had 1,500 people on that list. This was the beginning of his auspicious career as a soldier in the ranks of Jewish fundraisers. His passion for Israel, combined with his profound understanding of the need for young Jews to stay together, to be organized, led George to become the president of the first Federation of Jewish Youth Organizations in Havana at the age of 20. So many people in our community, including many who are here tonight, know firsthand that life changed dramatically in Cuba with the revolution. George, like countless others, knew the time had come to leave. He was already a staunch Zionist at the age of 25. He left his life as he knew it behind and brought himself, his belief in the future, his boundless passion, his determination, his innate leadership skills, his intellect, and his young family to Miami. Even in those earliest years in Miami, George inspired others as a result of his leadership, guiding the very early and dramatic growth of the Cuban Jewish community's participation in Federation and the Jewish community writ large. In 1965, just 4 years after coming, George helped lay the foundation for Federation's Cuban division, which later became the International Division, and he served with distinction as its president for 7 years. During those years, I have to say, our Jewish community did not do such a great job embracing and welcoming new Cuban Jewish immigrants. It was George, together with just a few others, who helped us to grow and to learn as a community from this experience and to improve. It helped us become the kind of community that knew how to help newcomers, to help them feel at home, how to open our synagogues and our JCCs, and to provide the support so necessary for people who are seeking to build a new life here. As a result of George's leadership and others, waves of Latin Jews and so many other groups who followed in the decades since then have found a different, much more welcoming and inclusive Jewish community. In fact, today, Miami is the most diverse Jewish community in the nation, and we are all the richer for it. Back then, as the first Cuban member of Federation's board of directors, George envisioned himself as a bridge builder, both within the Jewish community and with the non-Jewish community as well. He interacted with people in many businesses and from many different countries, and he always brought people together. He embraced and shared his deep love for this great country and for his beloved state of Israel. Today, after serving for more than 40 years, he is a life member of Federation's board and has been an officer for many of those and committee chairs and event chairs along the way. His first gift to the annual campaign was back before the '67 Six-Day War. Since then, he's continued to deepen his involvement in the Jewish community, and in philanthropic terms, he has built a legacy of meaningful generosity by participating at the highest levels. He has participated in every single emergency campaign that Federation has ever run on behalf of the Jewish people in Israel and worldwide. It's inspiring, and it's totally in character. George and his beloved wife, Marita's involvement in the community is far-reaching. Together with Oscar and Ellen and Fanny and his 8 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren, the family is known for their collective and individual commitments to some of our community's most deeply respected institutions. In addition to their wonderful support of the entire community through Federation, they have an extremely close and multi-generational connection with Temple Menorah. They've made significant gifts to the Michael Ann Russell Jewish Community Center, and in fact, the newest addition to our North Dade campus will be called the George Feldenkreis and Fanny Hanono Cultural Arts and Education Center. It's at the Michael Ann Russell JCC, and by the way, that building will also house the Diane and Alan Lieberman Theater, which is pretty cool. In addition, many generations of students are already the beneficiaries of the George Feldenkreis Program in Judaic Studies at the Sue and Leonard Miller Center for Contemporary Jewish Studies at the University of Miami. With the pernicious rise in campus-based anti-Semitism and the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement against Israel, what could be more important than that? The name Feldenkreis is synonymous with visionary funding, thoughtful leadership, and compassion. That includes the Rabbi Alexander S. Gross Hebrew Academy, Miami Jewish Health Systems, Mount Sinai Medical Center, and so many other local Jewish agencies who have benefited from their significant gifts to sustain Jewish education and to care for the vulnerable in our community. That same Feldenkreis commitment to social responsibility also extends beyond the Jewish community to Miami-Dade College, MCCJ, and many other organizations, including the Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center and the United Way of Miami-Dade County, where George is a member of the $1 Million Roundtable. And beyond the local community, George is a great defender of the Jewish people. He fights with a strong voice in the face of anti-Semitism. You can see it with his involvement with Federation and also his deep involvement in the Simon Wiesenthal Center. In 2013, he traveled to the Vatican as part of a Wiesenthal delegation to thank Pope Francis for supporting Judeo-Christian ties. But above all else, the passion and dedication George demonstrates day in and day out to the people and state of Israel is evidenced by all of his many trips and missions to Eretz Yisrael. Miami is his home, but Israel is where his heart is. Together, George and Marita have provided significant support to the Friends of the Israel Defense Forces, Technion, Israel Institute of Technology, Israel Bonds, and many others. In 2015, as a matter of fact, George was honored by Israel's Rambam Medical Center in Haifa, together with his family, which was a very special moment indeed. His great professional success as chairman of the board and chief executive officer of Perry Ellis International has earned him countless industry honors, and his concern for the welfare of all makes him a precious asset to our entire community. As I said earlier, George is a great American and a great Jew. His support of the Jewish people, the extraordinary importance he places on Jewish unity, and the way he takes personal responsibility to advocate for and fight for and defend the state of Israel at every opportunity make him a true Gibor Yisrael, a true hero of the Jewish people. Gedalia, I am so proud to call you my friend, and tonight, our entire community is proud to call you the 2016 Friend of Israel Humanitarian Award honoree. To present the award, I'd like to ask our board chair, Bob Barron, to join me at the podium. And George, may I ask you and Marita to join Bob and me up here as well. He's coming. He's a very busy guy. You got it. So I should give him a hug now first? Yeah.
George, on behalf of the Greater Miami Jewish Federation, I am delighted to present you with this great honor. The inscription begins with a quote from the book of Isaiah, and I know this is so meaningful to you. For Zion's sake, I will not keep silent. For Jerusalem's sake, I will not be still. Presented with profound respect, sincere gratitude, and great affection to George Feldenkreis in recognition of your outstanding leadership and service to our community, your steadfast support of the people and state of Israel, and your abiding commitment to the eternal Jewish values of tzedakah and tikkun olam, social justice, and the healing of the world. Congratulations and mazel tov.
Now pictures.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am really overwhelmed, Bob, and Jacob, for the work, great work you have done in putting together a little bit of history of my life. I'm going to buy the rights to own it. Honorable Ambassador, distinguished members of our community, ladies and gentlemen, over a course of a business career spanning more than half a century, I have had the fortune to receive many awards and accolades, but few have touched my heart like the Greater Miami Jewish Federation's Friend of Israel Humanitarian Award. I am deeply humbled. I'm deeply humbled, overwhelmed, honored, and proud to have been chosen for this distinction. Let me explain you why. I have always been and will always be faithful to our Jewish heritage. From the time I was a teenager in Havana and had the privilege of meeting Menachem Begin, supporting Israeli causes and the strength of the Jewish people has been a priority of my life. Almost since the time my feet touched the U.S. soil, Federation has been my home. Originally, I came to Hayas to ask him to get some visas for my wife and child, and they told me, "You're crazy if you go back to Cuba." So I didn't go back and had to wait until my parents could come out to give them a kiss. I have strongly embrace the devotion of Federation to Israel and to the Jewish community represented by the people here tonight. This esteemed award connects me with the likes of Shimon Peres and other great leaders of our community and the Jewish world. We all share a deep and abiding love for Israel, and I extend my sincere appreciation to the members of the board of directors and the excellent staff of Federation for this beautiful evening. The leadership of our great community, my family, my friends, and the over 1,000 people that have showed up tonight, and all who have helped make this a wonderful event. Thank you to all. My family is my energy source, the strength of my life. They have been sharing pride in everything I have achieved, and giving me comfort and refuge on my bad times. I'd like to recognize first my beautiful wife, Marita, who has always been my greatest friend, my confidant, my advisor, my love. Thank you, Marita. I can see from here, but I would like you to stand as I mention your names. I want people to know my family. Thanks to my wonderful son, Oscar, who has worked so hard to achieve what Perry Ellis has been able to achieve. But not only what he has done in the company, but he's a devoted Jew working every day, every week for Friends of Israel, Defense Forces for Israel, Bonds for the Food Bank, etc. My incredible daughter, Fanny, a woman of tremendous strength. She has raised 5 children while working with me full time and has devoted almost all her free time to the Michael Ann Russell Jewish Community Center and many other charities. To my extraordinary daughter-in-law, Ellen, and to all my dear grandchildren here tonight, including Joseph, Jennifer and Uzi, Stephanie and Alex, Howard and Sharon, Scott, James, and also my nephews, Hadass and Zephai, Claudia, and Michael Feldenkreis. I also like to acknowledge the ones who are not here tonight because they are out of town. Erica and Albert in New York, Gabriel and Jeff in New York, Natasha and Isaac in Colombia, and Evan in Boston. Thank you all. Last but not least, I'm really honored to have the new president of the University of Miami, Dr. Julio Frank, and also several members of the board of the university, executive, and the great faculty of the university, the provost, my friend Dr. White, Dr. Green, all of you, thank you very much for showing up tonight. As you heard from Jacob a few moments ago, I arrived in this great country more than half a century ago. No family in the United States except a distant uncle in Cleveland. I have no friends, a young family, and just a few $100s to my name. Those were very difficult years for us as we experienced the same hardship as most Cuban refugees arriving in the 1960s. With God's help and very hard work, I was able to develop a business and educate and grow a family. It has been a long road from there to here, and I'm most grateful to the United States of America and its people. I have visited almost every country in Asia, Europe, and Latin America, and I can tell you that there is no society like ours. We are all privileged to live in a country populated with fair, honest, hardworking people. America consistently gives immigrants, those who embody those qualities, opportunities to achieve beyond their wildest dreams. And there has never been a greater friend, ally, supporter, or defender of Israel and the Jewish people like the United States of America. For this, I'm also grateful. Whether we are American by choice, like I am, or by birth like you are, we are all blessed to be American. Cuba as a country never persecuted Jews. Yet the 1939 incident of turning away the St. Louis ship full of a few hundred Jews fleeing Nazi persecution in Europe was a defining moment in my life. In Cuba, I was called a Polaco, a Polak. It was clear to me that I was not equal to everybody else. And during my childhood, I always heard that Jews killed Jesus. I was told that Jews have no country, that Jews have no army, that Jews have no will to fight. I often proved them wrong, and it helped me to explain to my mother why I got into a brawl in my neighborhood. All of this reinforced in me the fact that I was part of a tribe that I had to fight to improve, to defend, and to protect at all costs. I was 10 years old when I saw my mother crying inconsolably because she just heard and had been confirmed that all her brothers and sisters and all their children and grandchildren have been killed in Europe on what we now call the Holocaust. This experience led me to join a Jewish Zionist organization, have you heard from Jacob already, which reaffirmed my beliefs. At that time, I was reading Jabotinsky, and in one of his books, I read that we should be proud to be Jews because we had David, we had Solomon, we had Moses, and so many great leaders, poets, writers, and philosophers, while those who were trying to kill us were barbarian in those days, and their ancestors were really barbarians. When I saw that and I heard that Jews have contributed through all 2,000 years of the darkness of the Exodus and the exile so much to society, I really felt proud for the first time to be a Jew. I was lucky. I was very lucky that I was born at a time to be able to witness the birth of the modern state of Israel. I cannot explain, and many of you younger than me will never be able to feel the pure joy and exhilaration that I felt on May 14, 1948. I am a bar mitzvah boy, when the state of Israel was proclaimed. Finally, after 2,000 years, we would have our own country. We were going to have a place we could call home, a place to go where we create our own destiny and protect ourselves. And the Israel Defense Forces proved it during all the wars in the establishment of the state in which our enemies have tried to destroy and wipe us out of the map. I am very happy to have lived through that time. It's something that it's a irreplaceable experience. The War of 48, the War of 56, the War of 67, the Yom Kippur War in 73, as well as other wars and intifadas that we have had since then and have tried to destroy the state of Israel. The elation and pride that I have felt at seeing the victories of the IDF are undescribable. I used to wonder why Israel had 20 parties and the United States only had 2. However, as time went by, I started to learn more about history of Jews, and I realized that this was just business as usual. It's typical of Jews. Many times we have been our worst enemies. When we're divided, the consequences have been terrible and very, very, very painful. In biblical times, the sons of Jacob were so jealous of Joseph that they got rid of him. They sold him. I mean, what's worse than that? You sell a brother. Consequence, 2 generations later, we were slaves in Egypt for centuries. It took a leader like Moses and the hand of God to take us out from slavery. Then we had great King Solomon, who created a kingdom through his wisdom and power. He passed away, his 2 children cannot get together. They split the kingdom. Now we have Judea and Samaria. Now we're weaker. Now the Philistines came up and they took care of Samaria, and the Babylonians took care of Judea. They burned our temple down, and the Jews were enslaved and sent to Babylon. More recently, when Jews couldn't get together after the Maccabees wars with the Greeks, again, we started to argue with each other. And to settle these issues, we invite General Pompey from Damascus. Hey, please come down here and help us, because the Romans had an interest in fighting with the Greeks. So the Romans came in, they liked it, they stayed there. A few centuries later, they burned down our temple, took us as slaves to build the Colosseum in Rome, and we were again sent out 2,000 years into the Golet, into the Galut. This is what happened when we are not united. This is what happened when we fight with each other. But when we do work together, when we are one, look what happens. Theodor Herzl launched the idea of Zionism and the return to a Jewish land. And this great idea captured the imagination of a small number of Jews. In reality, Zionism was always a minority in the Jewish population, and they had to contend with the apathy of the great majority of Jews. Sadly, I could never understand why during the Holocaust the American Jewish voice was barely heard. But once the dimension of the atrocities in Europe was known and evident, we became one. We became one. We fought hard for the partition vote in the United Nations and for the recognition of the United States and other great countries. And with that recognition, we were able to achieve the establishment of a Jewish state. Israel, the greatest dream, the greatest experiment, and the only homeland for our people, is the ultimate example of what can be accomplished when we are united, when we as people put all our resources together: mind, time, treasure, and love. Yet, over the past decade, the movement to delegitimize Israel and question the right of Jews to live there has gained tremendous momentum. At the same time, we're witnessing a resurgence of anti-Semitism in Europe, which I believe is the same today as it was in the 30s, except that we don't have the Hitler figures so far. And today, the elegant way to not be anti-Semitic is to be anti-Israel. I'm not anti-Semite. I think that the policies of Israel are wrong. So they call it boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. BDS. BDS is pushing this anti-Israel rhetoric on college campuses across the United States. Jews in Israel are being terrorized daily by a knife and automobile intifada. Throughout the Middle East, the hate is perpetuated by leaders who tell their people, keep killing Jews, this is good. And by schools that teach children how to kill Jews. As if this is a kindergarten game. How can any child living in that environment be ever a proponent of peace? You know that what we learn in primary school, what we learn in children remains with us throughout our lifetime. While visiting Israel last June, I admired the magnificent new skyline of Tel Aviv. It's amazing, it's just amazing what they have accomplished in 60 years. In Haifa, I visited Technion University, I visited Ramban Hospital, and I visited through Israel other universities and hospitals. The medical, technological, environmental, nanotechnologies advances that have been developed and are being developed in Israel today are amazing and contributing more than any other group of people to a higher quality of life for people all over the world. Those new developments are so important to the future of our humanity. Israel reservoir of talent, the amount of smart people in Israel on every walk of life is just mind-boggling and something to be very proud about. Well, I believe that today Jews are overwhelmingly united in support of Israel. I regret that even a small minority of us is divided by organizations and individuals who support activities and initiatives that ultimately hurt us as people and threaten Israel's well-being, while also impacting the life of Arabs who want to make a living working at Israeli businesses and industries. It also pains me to see the split in the Jewish community in America regarding the debate on Iran. Iran remains the greatest existential threat to Israel today. Unfortunately, many American Jewish intellectuals and academics continuously criticize actions of the Israeli government and do it within the framework of the great democracy that is Israel. But all they do is create arguments that only serve the arguments of our enemies, while at the same time never considering the actions of the other side. Our children and grandchildren must be educated at home. Let's start by talking to our children at home about our past, our future, and our needs. And then follow up in our schools so our Jewish kids can advocate and stand up and defend Israel and to support its legitimacy and its right to exist today, tomorrow, and always. Central to my Jewish life is my love for Jews. And central to Jews is Israel. period. I know what it is life without Israel. I know it. I know what it is for Jews to have no homeland, no place to go, like it happened in the 30s, where just a few hundred Jews in the St. Louis couldn't be accepted as a whole in any nation of the world. No matter how good things are for the Jewish community. We must remember the consequences of not having a Jewish state. And we are the wealthiest Jewish community that has ever lived. I repeat, the American Jewry is the wealthiest Jewish community in the history of Judaism. Together, we can ensure that Israel thrives in every way. That Israel is strong and her people secure, and that our armed forces are not only our defense, but also the strongest deterrent to our enemies. And be careful and don't try to attack Israel. And that is why we're all here tonight. By uniting our gift, our tzedakah. By the way, have you ever realized that tzedakah is a Jewish invention? Through the Federation campaign, we are caring and supporting the people, the poor people in Israel, who are poor and vulnerable and seeking a better life. We are educating thousands of college students across our nation to combat the BDS movement. Over the years, we have made it possible for more than 500,000 young Jewish adults to visit Israel on Birthright Israel. And countless more to participate in Israel educational experiences like the Alexander Moss High School in Israel and the March of the Living. We solidify their understanding of why we must stand together, why we are one, and why we must stand with Israel. And to secure our Jewish future, we are funding Jewish schools and congregational schools. We're teaching new generation what it means to be Jewish, so that years from now, there will be caring Jews just like us, getting in rooms just like this to continue safeguarding Jewish life. Our tzedakah, our unity, our giving makes all this possible. We are one. We have to leave this room tonight thinking about Federation and about all of the Jewish organizations working together to enhance and sustain Jewish life. And we can do that not only when we are united as a people. Volunteering our efforts, very important, we need volunteers, and contributing all that we are able to do. My family and myself have made support of Miami's Jewish community and of Israel our priority, and with God's help, we will continue to do more in the future. Jewish giving and education must be a priority. I often ask myself if I'm doing all that I can financially do to strengthen Jewish life and to help others. And tonight I'm proud to announce a substantial increase in the level of our family support to the Federation's annual campaign this year. but also, as you heard from Bob at the beginning, I have made arrangements to provide through the foundation, endow a new gift to make sure that the community of my grandchildren and great-grandchildren grow up in a strong, as vital as the one represented here tonight. And tonight, with the utmost respect from the unique perspective of this stage, I urge you to do the same. I want to end by saying that I'm so proud to be a Jew, and I'm also so proud to be one of you, and I'm proud to be an American. God bless the United States of America. The land of the free, the home of the brave. Tonight, let's all be proud of Israel. Let's all be proud of our community and of each other. We are one, and working together will allow us to meet every challenge we face now and that we face in the future, and build an even stronger community tomorrow. Am Israel High, the Jewish people live. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Federation General Campaign Chair, Amy Dean.
I'll wait till you all get an opportunity to take your seats. George, thank you. Thank you for your inspiring words and really mazel tov on this very well-deserved honor. George, with your tireless commitment to the unity of the Jewish people and your steadfast support of our Federation and the State of Israel, you have set an example for all of us to follow. Coming from Cuba, you know all too well how the ideas of one person or group of people can transform a nation and change the way of life for the people of that nation. You also understand the importance of standing up and speaking out for the greater good. We are fortunate this evening to have with us another person known for his eloquent advocacy for the Jewish people and for the Jewish state, Ambassador Ron Proser.